Hey everybody, welcome back. It is Ravenflower and my good friend Monarch. We are once again doing Truth Talk, and Monarch is lucky number 13. Welcome. Welcome. You are lucky number 13. Woo! People are lining up for this like I hadn't, woo! It's been really, really cool. But Monarch and I have been friends for over 20 years. Our husbands were friends first. And I think when I first met you, I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm only 26 years old. How did I get here? I really kind of think I was like very naive, and I was intimidated by you. I thought, who is this like Cher-like looking goddess? Like I was just like, oh my gosh! But you were a piercer at the time. When I met you, and you let me in to watch certain things that I really wanted to see. And I was like, yay! I was so excited because I'm very inquisitive. But welcome to my channel. You have been on my channel doing a burlesque routine, which I will put a link in, or actually an in-screen notation so that somebody can go and look at that. But it is one of my most popular videos with quite a few views already. So people know who you are, but go ahead and tell the people, who are you?
Hi, I'm Miss Monarch M. My newest hashtag, which is really kind of silly, is your friendly neighborhood epidemiologist stripper. Now, the way that I get around the the family values of several of the social medias is stripper, STRI_PPER, stripper. So friendly neighborhood epidemiologist stripper, because I am a practitioner of public health. I concentrate in infectious disease epidemiology, mostly in HIV research and prevention of HIV transmission, and reducing HIV as much as possible. And then I'm also a burlesque performer, a performance artist, a drag artist, a belly dancer, and general, I don't know. I keep hearing the word from many of my friends that are getting more and more to know me, Renaissance woman.
Oh, I like that, because you also do your own costumes. You're highly intelligent. That's something probably I was not well educated when I met you. So I was like pretty, whatever. And I'm just like, wow, she blows me away with her mind. She's so amazing.
I mean, I dance. I am a complete data nerd, and well, just nerd anyway. I cook. I try not to clean, but I can hunt. I can fish. I can actually, bring it home, cook it up, and serve it to you too. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I've got a lot of hidden talents that most people don't necessarily know about, but I have all of these crazy skills that I've acquired over a lifetime of just trying it out. Yeah. Unfortunately for me, I haven't really concentrated necessarily on one. I'm an epidemiologist, sure, because I have the student loan debt to prove it. and it's really only been since April of last year that I have kind of worked in the field that I've been wanting to work in since graduate school. No, not even because of COVID. Mm-hmm. Because I finally found the right team and the right place and the right person that recognized my potential and my skill and valued what it was that I could bring to the team. Mm-hmm. My boss is a total.
Yeah, go ahead.
Boss is a total badass. And she leads from the middle of the pack. If she's not willing to do it, she's not going to ask her team to do it. She leads by example. She's made things really comfortable. Mm-hmm. And after my previous job of feeling like I was literally shoved in a corner and just put in an office and forgotten about and not fostered for the knowledge and the skills that I have.
Yeah.
it's a big change, and I'm still marveling at it every day.
I'm really happy for you because I remember there was a dark time there for you, and it was a few years. And I remember when Eric would come to our house to tattoo, um, he was so concerned. He was so concerned about you. You could feel it. You could feel it off of him, like things weren't quite right, and he felt uncomfortable having left you in the state that you were because you were so upset, with work. And I remember having chats with you, and I don't know if it had anything to do with whether the fact you were a woman or whether the fact you were tattooed or anything like that. They just didn't value you because I've always admired you for your brain and your beauty, but I always think of you as brain first for some reason. It's
In the previous position I had, the job was kind of carved out for me, and nobody really knew what to do. Nobody knew what to do with the skills that I had. And then I was plugged into just a spot and like, oh, well, you can just do this.
just the overflow crap.
And, and it killed me. It sucked my soul. And I was dying pretty much every day that I went to my office.
Yeah.
And in such a large academic institution with so much bureaucracy,
Yeah.
you can't be yourself. You can't show initiative. You can't be colorful. You can't be outspoken. You have to toe the line.
Yeah.
You have to conform. You have to put your head down and do your work and collect a paycheck, and that's it. And yeah, that's not necessarily in my nature.
It chips at your soul. Just really, it chips at you. I felt that way when I was working at the bank in Texas, and it was very much, old oil money, conservative, everything, and trying to like find a different kind of color sleeve to cover all of my tattoos. I was makeuping, whatever, and I'm like, oh my God, I shouldn't have gone so far down on my arm. And like people were just, it was just interesting, and I just felt so gross. I just felt like I was, no matter what, not only because I was in the closet for the witch stuff, I was in the closet for the tattoo stuff, in the closet for, the fact that I'm, gay, I'm in the closet for, all these things. And I'm just like, I'm pretty much just not myself. I'm just living a lie for a sake of a paycheck. And you can do it for a little bit, but I mean, when you start doing it long term, I would just cry. I would just cry all the way to work. Sometimes I'd cry to my friends on the way home. Luckily, it was a very long commute, so I had time to like decompress by the time I went home to freaking teenagers, which did not help things. But there's a lot of drinking involved. There's a lot of drinking involved. I made it through. People are like, so are you empty nesting? Fuck no, I am not empty nesting. No. You know what I went through? Like, like, go, be an adult, go.
Yeah, you moved 2,000 miles away from all of them. Left them in Texas. Bye, teenagers. I'm done.
I know. One followed us here. I mean,
they're not living in the house with you, are they?
What was that? Yes.
Get out.
I know. We're trying.
Be free.
Fly, be free. Luckily, they have 2 jobs, and I hardly ever see her, so that's good. I'm like, save, keep the saving going. It's not don't let it burn a hole in your pocket. Save, get out. I love you. Bye. See me at Christmas. I'm such a mean mom. I miss the family dynamics and some of the group stuff that we would do. But I like my peace and damn quiet. I am so happy here on this island. I'm just like,
I'm happy here on this island. That is not a metaphor. That is an actual true reality. I'm happy here on this island.
I know. You haven't been here, but I know that you travel sometimes to Seattle, right? Don't you have a Seattle troupe or something? Is there something that you did for that?
I went to Seattle once.
Okay.
A few times in the times that in the time that we've known each other, but the last
Mhm.
time that I was there was for a really fantastic event. God, that was probably 4 or 5 years ago now, called BurlesqueCon.
Oh, yes, yes. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay.
And so it's a convention for burlesque performers all over the country, all over the world, that is concentrated on learning and growing and getting to know folks and doing things. Burlesque can oftentimes be such a solo pursuit because the idea is there's just one person on stage. And so to find the connection and to get a group of people together to be, other than just having a show and having the rest of the cast in your show, it's really lovely to be able to go somewhere, meet folks from all over the world, have this one great, sparkly, empowering thing in common, and then find that, there are a whole bunch of other things that you have in common as well, and get to learn choreography or costuming or how to do your taxes because you're a full-time artist, or how to market yourself in social media, which I'm terrible doing.
Yeah, shut up. You're so good. You stop that. No, you're good.
No,
You're
if I was
very brave. Some of those I was just like, well, okay, I got some eye candy this morning. Good morning, Meredith. Good morning,
if I was good, I'd get more gigs.
Okay. Well, you did well. You did well. You are based out of New Orleans. And you've pretty much lived, let's see, you were in San Marcos, Texas, and then you guys went to New Orleans, and then Katrina, right?
Yes.
It happened.
We came back to New Orleans.
Okay.
So we left here in 95.
Okay.
Moved to Texas for 9 years and came back moved to Texas in 96. I think that's right. And then came back April before Katrina.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
In Texas for 9 years, and I wanted nothing more than to be back here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you guys had your wedding there, and that was like such an amazing event. And I really have to say that I've been to a couple of weddings, that were, they were different. They were not the traditional stuff. And at the time I was a floral designer. I'm still a floral designer. I do flowers for people all the time, but I had the honor to do your wedding flowers. And I remember that the calla lilies didn't come in just right, that they weren't the right color. And I knew you were not going to be happy. You are a Virgo like me. And I'm like, this ain't going to fly. Like, there's not going to be any tears on wedding day. Nope. And so I am scaling the side of a fire escape with these buckets of flowers from that Hotel Magnolia on is it St. Charles? It's St. Charles Street. And there is this floral tent that I have found by two gay men down by the river. I'm like, Barrett and I had gone on this trek. We're like, this is what we need. We found a floral supply company. They sent that we actually went to this high society flower shop, and I'm like, where do you get your stuff? And this gay man he's like, girl, sugar bean, come on with me. And they jumped in the car and we went down by the river. I'm like, where are we going? I'm gonna die. I'm like, what's going to happen? And sure enough, they hooked me up. They let me use their account so that I could buy stuff, and I just paid for it or whatever. It was amazing. All this stuff was happening while you were unbeknownst to you. Painting calla lilies on the side of a building. I'm just like, hey, how you doing?
I think that you told me this story and this crazy adventure that you guys had gone on, but that's not a detail that I have retained since then.
It was so much fun. And then
the flowers were beautiful too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, it's something that I really enjoy to do, and that's why I kind of have this name Raven Flower. Not only do I have worked with flowers all of my life, but I have this really awesome tattoo that your husband gave me. And I'm just like, it's a raven and some flowers. I like that. I can jive with that.
I don't know anything about that, as I wear at least one of my badges.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you
Heavily,
have
heavily
huge
tattooed.
monarch on your back.
Yep.
Huge monarch.
You know, here's a little preview.
Yep, yep.
I wait.
Beautiful. Oh, can you see it? Oh, there it is. Whoop,
Ta-da!
there it is. Oh, so beautiful. Okay, so you guys, her wedding dress, it was like old Hollywood with like the satin with the V in the back. So the butterfly was all of stuff. They got married on Halloween and basically had like a masked ball. Everybody was dressed up. There were sugar skulls everywhere and like deep purple and orange calla lilies and roses. I'm like, it was off the damn chain. It was one of my favorite things. So imagine Halloween New Orleans wedding
And
costume.
there were trick or treaters. Like there was a small family that came by that was literally trick or treating with us. I remember this very young boy in just a diaper because it was warm, blonde little boy, and
Oh,
two other kids that were a little bit older, and they came to the gate of the venue, like trick
yeah.
or treat, and of course I had to go and find something to give them for treats, and since there were I don't know vampire like plastic vampire teeth and skull rings and spider rings on the table, I grabbed a whole bunch of those and like gave them to the kids as they were trick or treating. But yeah, it was really it was an enjoyable evening.
It was really amazing. It was really, really amazing. I'm telling you, one of the top weddings I've ever attended. And also it was so much fun. And I think it has to do with the fact that you've just got really good people that are surround you both. You know, you just have good people. You don't tolerate assholes. And I really appreciate that about you. I've learned that from you. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to tolerate the assholes either. I'm like, no, you have no value in my life. You are also my kid Ridley's godmother. You also are. You and
Yay!
Eric, godparents, and I'm so happy to have you both to take on that role, knowing that you also have similar belief system to Bear and I. So it's not like a Christian godmother; it's more of a
fairy godmother. Literally, I think we can go with that at this point. And I haven't seen Ridley in a minute, like in person. Actually,
I know. You know that they're transitioning. They're in the stages of wanting to do that. So
right.
doing that. And the last phone call I had with them, they were so funny because they bleached their hair and they're like, "Mom, I'm trying to look like Dean from Supernatural." And I'm like, squint. I said, maybe if I squint, let me see, let me see, babe. I'm just like, I said, Dean's kind of hard to pull off. I said, and Dean is sexy as hell. Like,
is that one Jensen Ackles, or is it the other one? Yeah, okay.
I think it's Jensen Ackles. Yeah, okay. He's out of Texas. He's a cutie. He is a cutie patootie for sure. But so that's what Ridley's going for. I'm like, you go ahead, babe. You go ahead. You can do anything. Mama says you can be anything you want to be.
I will tell you something funny.
Mm-hmm.
I struggle with Ridley as a name because it's so close to Ripley.
Well,
I don't want to call Ridley Ripley, and I'm like, nope, Ridley, 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 not Ripley.
Those two are actually combined in their thought process because they really identified with the androgyny of Ripley and how Ridley Scott had sort of created that. So they liked the name Ridley, but really relate to Ripley. So that was part of their thought process on that. I know I am struggling with the pronouns more than anything else. I'm lucky in the fact that I am a mom and I can say babe, hun, sweetie, those things. I'm lucky that I get to do that. But this transitioning thing is a serious process, and I'm glad that they are making some of these discoveries for themselves, and we love them. Totally supportive. Like,
when I first was privy to the fact that Ridley was going through their transition, however that happened, I reached out because one of the first things that I did working for the organization that I do, which is called Crescent Care. It is a local federally qualified healthcare center, but we do way more than just provide healthcare. We provide we provide beautiful support to a community that is mostly underserved. And Crescent Care started as No AIDS Task Force. And it was originally a healthcare center that concentrated in providing healthcare for people living with HIV.
Okay.
When it started 20 years ago or longer, when living with HIV and medications and stigma was a whole lot greater. Granted, there is still stigma when it comes to HIV, but it was so much more compounded at that time. One of the first things that I did with Crescent Care when I came on to my team was work with a data set. And I work for the grant that I'm doing is the grant that I work on is called National HIV Behavior Surveillance.
Okay.
Or NHBS. My team, before I became a part of it, was able to be in the first cycle of transgender women. So they collected data on behavior, like risk behaviors and just general behaviors of transgender women. There was a structured study talking about transition, talking about surgery, talking about, again, HIV risk, talking about STI or STD risk, sexually transmitted infection, sexually transmitted disease risk, and feeling that, like, doing this data analysis really made me start to put more and more faces with more and more people behind the numbers. Also, as a performer, I work in an environment where I'm constantly in queer spaces. I'm constantly in places where queerness is celebrated. So the idea of having a conversation literally on the street with somebody I meet going, "Hey, what are your pronouns?" is perfectly normal in my world.
Right.
And I love that. And I appreciate that every day, because there are so many people out there that don't know what transgender folks are like, that don't have any access or any exposure to transgender folks. And the hate and the stigma and the degradation that comes with being a transgender person is a fight that I will never know.
Right.
And to be an ally for a trans person, and especially a young trans person, saying, "Hey, I work with this community. I can help you. I can hook you up with resources. I can listen. I can understand. I can support you in your life journey." It makes my heart warm and grow. And the fact that this person is Ridley, this person is connected to me in a completely different way, in a familial way.
Yeah. You've known them since they were 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
You've
really
known them most of their life. Yeah.
It's really a lovely thing. And so being able to reach out to Ridley and say, "Hey, I got you. If you need it, please always give me a call, send me a text, find me on Facebook, whatever it is." I'm glad to be able to do that.
You were very empowered by your lifestyle when, they decided to, do sort of their, their performance that, that they do. I'm not sure that they're doing much of it anymore, but they were very empowered by you. And it's not a secret that I'm an ex-stripper, but I had, let me be very clear. Let me be very clear. It was the 90s. It was a paycheck, and I wasn't that talented. Okay. So me and that pole did not get along. We did not get along. But what Miss Monarch does is, when you see that, it's a whole performance, and it's an art form. And I know that you and I have talked about a little bit, when I was last in New Orleans. I think that was last time I saw you. I need to make another trip. In fact, we've just been talking about possibly putting on a witchy meet and greet in New Orleans once this COVID situation is over. And love to get more tattoo work, and then also see another show of yours. And then maybe we could get a whole witch pack, to go and see one of your shows would be amazing. But you had shared with me something that has stayed with me in regards to, we all have these talents and these things that we do, but you use your dance as a form of not only meditation, but also as an offering for Goddess. You had talked about that before, and I thought that was lovely. And I don't know if you wanted to share that again.
Well, things have, since the last time we've talked about it, my perspective has changed even more. March 24th of last year, I started doing a daily reading.
Yes, yay, she could talk about it. Okay.
And in fact, I have the book right here. It's 365 Goddesses. It's by Patricia Telesco. I've owned this book for, I don't even know how long, probably 15, maybe 20 years. I'm not even sure. It's one of those things that I picked up in my journey as, we'll just call it a witch, because that's pretty much how I feel, witch. And I picked up the book a little bit before I started doing the online readings every day. And I was reading every day for myself. Because pandemic had just really come to a head where we were starting to lock down. Eric was out of town. I was by myself in my house, pretty much cut off, and amusing myself with dumb TV and lots of cocktails. And so I wanted to have something that was a bit inspiring for me. And I picked this up and I started reading, and I thought, you know what? Someone else might want to hear what's happening. And it wasn't until December that I snapped to and went, oh, you know what? I should put this on Instagram too. So I had been doing all of these readings on Facebook every day, Daily Goddess every day. I read the passage. I talk about it a little bit, and it's just been an inspiration for myself. It's been a discipline to do something almost at the same time every day. It has been a practice, but it has also, sometimes it's just me going through the motions. Other days it's me actually feeling what the message is.
Yeah.
And most of the days that I do the readings, I do try to present some sort of facet of the goddess, whether it's the, colors that she's associated with, or the symbols that she's associated with, or I just feel like wearing that crazy getup today because I can. Yeah. And it's really inspired. I have had personal feedback from other folks, and they say, this is amazing. Thank you for doing this. I hope that you continue. And I hope that then bleeds into the rest of your art. And as I continue to think about it, and as the 365 Goddesses come to a close,
I know you're at 11 months at this point, right? You're a little over 11 months.
And March 24th will be the last Daily Goddess reading.
Oh my God.
I know, right? We're
so quickly, but yes, that was amazing.
But bleeding over into my art, I have a whole lot of new thoughts and ideas on how I can empower the goddess, a goddess, the face of the goddess, and make that part of my art.
Mhm.
So we'll see what happens. You know, I think it's hard to do. I think it's hard to do with video because I don't really want to make a music video. I would rather share that magic and that inspiration and that channeling in a live situation.
I agree. I agree. Again, no secret that I was on TV and then I was also in the theater. And I will tell you that the energy on both things are two
Totally
totally different things.
totally
So
different.
yeah, live performance is a wonderful energy exchange, especially if you've got a good audience. It's just something that just really is. I mean, it can be a high. It could absolutely be a high, and it's there's nothing else like it. You feel sick before you go on, and then you're on there, and you're just like, oh my gosh, you like tap out and go. For me, tap out and I go somewhere else. It's incredible. It's incredible. I'm not a well-spoken person, but I do enjoy a camera. Like I do. Been a,
I'm learning. I'm learning more and more with camera. I have a new video project that I'm working on. We were talking about that a little bit before we went live,
mm-hmm.
and that video project, I've got one piece that is fully edited and ready to disseminate, to put out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure where that's going to go. Probably Instagram, maybe YouTube, probably Facebook as well, just so that I can, get and cover all my bases.
Yeah, really.
It's too long for TikTok, so I'm going to leave it off of there. But it is a conversation with folks that I'm interested in knowing about.
Oh,
but
awesome.
It's a quick conversation because it is in the similar vein to the questionnaire that is done at the end of Inside the Actor's Studio by James Lipton. Yes.
Okay.
And the difference is that I've got 20 questions instead of like 10 or 6 or 8 or however many James Lipton had. And I put these questions together to really just get a little bit of perspective to see kind of what makes people tick.
Yeah.
We're not having an hour-long conversation like we are here today, but we're having just a short, let me get to know you real fast, like quick and dirty, answer these questions for me. Let me put this out there and see what we can, and show a facet of you that maybe nobody has seen.
Oh my gosh, please. I know that Kook Teflon is local there now for you. So they left this community and they're over there. And
She's fantastic.
Oh, she is fantastic. She's so fantastic. She's actually on this channel. We had wandered in when we were looking for houses here. We went to Seattle and I went to Cunning Crow Apothecary, and they were at the front desk, and I'm just like, do you mind if I do like a little thing? And both of them, they like run, they're like, we gotta put on makeup, and then I'm just like, makeup. They were so cute. They were so cute. We did like a little quick interview and talked with them, but I got to meet them in person, followed them a little bit, and then I see this thing, they're like, move to New Orleans, and then Eric's like, hey, do you know Kook? And I'm like, I sure do. Yes, I do know Kook. Kook is legit. Legit.
She's fantastic.
Yes, she is.
Super cool. I mean, and again, the world does this. Mm-hmm. We end up intertwining with people that we know and are supposed to know in some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, please do Kook. Please do Kook.
I have a list of folks that I'm trying to do. And the funny thing about this project for me is that it takes longer to get in face and to get in not even character, but to make myself, I feel like, look presentable in my host of this segment. And because I'm interested in performers, they also want to be in face. And so it literally takes longer for us to get ready to do this than it does to film.
Yeah.
It literally takes about 5 minutes to film.
Yeah.
If you do one take, and then it's going to, then it takes me with the first one, since that one was fully edited, that took me 3 or 4 hours to edit. And it's 6 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the lovely part about that is that the person that I started with kept telling me, they're like, you're not getting the normal person. You're getting the other guy. You're getting the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
I got the normal person and the other guy armor, and it made me cry.
Oh.
The insightfulness of that individual and the genuineness of their responses really struck me. And I know that I'm going to be moved by the same information as I edit the other pieces, the other two vignettes that I filmed that I haven't actually edited yet. And then I'm working with more and more people. In fact, another friend of mine sent me a message today and said, "Hey, when are we filming?"
Dear the headlight.
I got some stuff to do today, but I'll give you some days and times that we can do some stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And so same thing, I've had to learn lighting and sound. Well, not really sound, because I'm hoping that my phone captures all of that, but lighting and editing and yet another tool in the belt of all around Renaissance woman.
I like it. I like it a lot. I agree. You are kind of I know your husband is a jack of all trades, and you pick up something and just, do it, no problem. You kind of have that gift as well. You do.
Oftentimes I'll try it, and if it doesn't work, I'll keep trying it to see if it actually works.
Yeah.
Funny thing about that, baking.
Yes.
I've watched all, because it's really fantastic, of the British baking show.
I'm telling you, I love them. I love them all. I will watch all of the offshoots, as much as I can get.
I haven't seen. I'm still working on the offshoots, but I've seen like all of the regular seasons.
Mm-hmm. So Paul with his look. You want the handshake. You got to get the handshake.
Listen, yeah, silver fox with sparkly blue eyes. I'm done.
Yeah, he's delicious. He is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Speaking of baking, but on about early December, I decided that I needed to make and perfect French macarons.
Oh, did you know that those are my favorite things? Those are my favorite things. Things. And I didn't really get hooked on them until I was in Rouen, France. And they're like this big. Oh, and wow. They're sandwiched with like a big popsicle stick and then half dipped in chocolate. And I'm just like, what is this magical treat?
I haven't gotten that fancy yet.
Oh, it's so good. And then in San Antonio, there's a place called down by the new Pearl complex. I can't think of the name. It's a bakery that's right in there, but they have like Earl Grey ones. Oh, don't get me started. Don't even get started. The Earl Grey ones are like off the chain. Yum. Yeah.
I'm still working on flavors and textures and things like that. I mean, baking in New Orleans especially macarons, is kind of difficult because the humidity here is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, I could probably get in the kitchen and do some baking of macarons today because it's perfect. Like the humidity is just right, and we'll see.
Bakery Lorraine. Yes. Snow the Witch just reminded me. Yes. Bakery Lorraine. Oh my God. They even had a butterbeer one at one point. I was just like, Jesus. I love it so much. I love it so much. I wanted to ask you real quick, two things. How did you start burlesque dancing or dancing in general? And then also, are you open to questions from people in the chat?
I'm definitely open to questions from people in the chat. I wish I could see the chat, and I don't know if I can. Nope,
Well, if they have a question,
that's probably
anybody
just,
in the chat, we've got some viewers here watching. So if there are people in the chat that have a question for Miss Monarch, then you are, or Monarch, you're welcome to put it in the chat. Put it in bold letters so that I can see it, and then I'll bring it up on screen so that she can see it as well. Okay, how did you get into dancing?
how did I get into dancing? Well,
How did you go from a piercer to let's dance?
I mean, I've always been kind of a creative person. I was heavily involved, again, much like a lot of us, theater kid. um, you know, theater kid.
Theater kid, Virgo. We're both Virgos too.
Let me go back. Let me go way back. Way back. The school that I went to decided that they needed to build a fine arts building, which was fantastic. Mm-hmm. When I was in 4th grade, I'm not sure why I was chosen, but I was chosen. I was in the groundbreaking ceremony of that fine arts building. Super awesome. Yay. I got to like dig the dirt. Okay, groundbreaking ceremony. Fast forward a few years to 6th or 7th grade when the building was complete and we had a brand new theater. We had beautiful art rooms. We had music rooms. We had a photography studio, like in this building. It was specifically dedicated to fine arts. Mm-hmm. As part of our curriculum, we were doing music and art and drama. The drama portion of the art curriculum, we learned the tech. I learned the lighting and the sound for the theater in 7th grade. 7th grade was also the year that I played the Artful Dodger in Oliver Twist. We through middle and high school, I was constantly in plays and productions and taking dance classes. Never really did ballet because I wasn't really excited about it. Not really, that wasn't really my thing. Mm-hmm. But then again, high school, junior, senior year, we were putting on lunchtime Shakespeare theater shows where my friend Natalie was writing parodies of Shakespeare plays, and we would literally do full-on productions in the 45 minutes of our lunch period. Costume, lights, sound, the whole 9 yards. Like, this is what we did for fun in the middle of the day at school.
How cool.
Flash forward to my freshman year of college, where I was finally in my absolute favorite play, Shakespeare play, which is A Midsummer Night's Dream. I played Hippolyta, but it was still a lot of fun. I mean, granted, minor role, it was still a lot of fun. We had, a 2-week run or something? So I've always enjoyed theater, arts, dancing, that kind of a thing. I started learning belly dance in 1999, started studying belly dance in 1999, and I'm still dancing. And the burlesque came in, it's about 10 years ago now. Maybe. I don't know.
I think maybe like 7, 8. I think you're close to 10. Yeah.
I don't know. Time is a construct anymore. I don't even know what day it is. But the person that was teaching me, or that was teaching burlesque, was in the studio where I belly danced, and their class was right after like my belly dance class. Mm-hmm. So I decided to stay one day, fell in love with it, and kept going. In fact, I do get the privilege this afternoon to teach a belly dance / burlesque class to a bachelorette group.
That's exciting. That is fun. That is exciting fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. It'll be nice to be in the studio. It'll be nice to be able to kind of get back into my body and move a bit and share that information and my philosophy on that information with folks that are just wanting to have a good time. Granted, all COVID precautions will be taken. We will be fully masked. There are literally going to be 6 of us in an environment that is going to be relatively big. Because it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood here, it's what, 70-ish degrees and sunny and fantastic.
Wow, nice.
Yeah. I have a feeling that the door will be, the doors will be open and the air will be moving through the studio. So our safety is definitely being looked out for. And if I did not feel safe with COVID transmission, I wouldn't be doing it.
That's a thing. That is a thing. When I saw your performance, it was at Dirty Dime Peep Show, I think, right?
Probably.
That's when we saw it. Was all flat. I thought that it was very interesting because you're just going into like a room, and I had not, my stripper expertise. I stripped in California in the 90s, and it was a moat between me and the people where it was just enough for them to put the money there. There was no touching. But your platform and the arena in which you and your performer friends, were doing stuff was like at the same level as people are, sitting, and you're just like walking by. And I thought that was so engaging and so intimate in a different ways. But
that was Whiskey and Rhinestones.
What was that?
The show's called Whiskey and Rhinestones.
Whiskey and Rhinestones. Okay. That was it was just incredible. It was just really incredible, and it sort of reminded me of more of a situation, like back in the 40s. Maybe kind of like behind the scenes situation. Yeah, like a speakeasy. Yeah,
little speakeasy where you have some bubbly, you see some strippers. It's a whole lot of fun.
It's a whole lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Something that I've always admired about you, and it was because I didn't have the confidence at the time to be this myself, was you have this gift of this super internal strength. I admire this, that you give these boundaries to people. And when you give boundaries to people, and I really like this about you because I'm one of those people that struggle with saying no to people because I was preoccupied with being liked or wanted or needed, and I don't want to rock the boat. Everybody got to be polite. Always got to be sweet, these kinds of things. But I saw you and I'm like, I never vocalized this to you until right now. I want to be Meredith when I grow up because you have this really awesome way of demanding and holding those boundaries. And I never saw it as much as when right after that show, there was a lady that decided to grab you. And and then there was another guy who was being inappropriate and his dick, he thought it was this big, and then he walked away like this. And I mean, it was just incredible. Like you shred people with your truth in such a way that is so goddamn empowering that I'm like, I hope my kids turn out to be like her. I want to be more like her. And you empowered me to be more of that and set those boundaries and let go of stupid, toxic relationships that I'm over here that are one-sided because of you.
It's contextual. I still struggle with boundary issues myself. I still struggle with all kinds of self-doubt. I still struggle. I have ridiculous demons in my head. I feel like, I go through imposter syndrome. I go through feelings of I'm not good enough. I should just stop performing because people don't want me to be a performer, because I'm not being invited to being in shows, or, why is somebody else getting this show and I'm not, or, I still struggle with that. with that, the self-doubt, the self-deprecation, the I'm not good enough, the I'm not strong enough, I'm not, but I know that I am. And to strike that balance, mm-hmm. It's hard. And as a performer, I think it happens more for me in the context of performing because I know what I'm doing and I know that I'm commanding that space. And this is my time. And this is how you need to act. And I will tell you how you should act. And if you are acting inappropriately, yeah, I'm going to call you out.
Mm-hmm.
If you are acting like a fool, I'm going to call you out. I mean, I do that a lot anyway.
I know, but it's pretty awesome when you do it. It's like it's sexy as fucking hell. I mean, it really is just like, whoa, that is awesome.
When I'm almost 6 feet tall with no shoes on, and then I put on 4-inch heels and I'm towering over you and I'm wearing a bra and a thong and I'm standing in your face and I'm like, you need to stop doing this now, despite the fact that this is a sexually charged environment. You need to break that. You need to stop with this. They're like, oh, I wasn't aware that I was doing it. Right.
And that's the problem.
And it perpetuates that trope of boys will be boys or people will be people. And no, that's not the case. Women are, we are fully functional human beings that are autonomous and don't and don't need to have connection with anyone but ourselves to be thought of as valid individuals.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
And to try to break that, and to try to break the thought and the cycle of being a woman and having to have that connection to someone, typically a man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that every day.
Yeah. That one gentleman, I mean, it was interesting because he was very boisterous. You know, he had a lot of, you know, you could tell he was one of those. And it's just like, oh, yeah, I know who that guy is. You know, you don't need to know your name. You don't need to know your name. I know who you are. And anybody who has been in the industry usually can spot it like a mile away. You know exactly who you're dealing with and you know exactly how to handle them. And once it goes to past a certain point, you're like, and I'm done, you know, type situation. And it was interesting because the way that it all played out is like he was just real braggy and in your face at one point, and then you would like shut him down. And then he spent, I counted at least 3 times that I paid attention. Double Scorpio here. I'm very observant. I saw him pretty much trying to break his neck to apologize to you at least 3 different times because he felt so ashamed of himself. And you had a way of just like highlighting, boom, spotlight, you're an asshole. And he's like, oh my God, I am an asshole. And like turned it around. But then later on, after the show was done and you were taking pictures with people, there was an older woman. She was probably late 50s, maybe mid to late 50s. And she, I guess, thought it was okay to like pinch your butt or slap you on the butt or something. I forget what it was, but it was just like, and I don't think that it was in a sexual way, but I think she was like trying to show that her coolness, I guess, to the group she was with. That's how I felt about it, that you shut her down just the same way. And it's like, it's not a male female gender thing. It's about fucking respect. It's like, you don't do that to people. You know, I'm not it's not a side of meat that you can just manhandle or woman handle or person handle. Can't do that.
The thing is that it's not just that type of behavior, and shutting that type of behavior down doesn't just happen at a burlesque show. It happens at work. It happens, it happens, you know, at the grocery store. It happens on the street. It happens everywhere.
Yeah.
And the problem is that women have to assess so many possible threats and try to be able to get out of them. We have, you know, oftentimes we have to be nice, or we have to be demure, or we have to say, oh, okay, yeah, sure, because ultimately there is that fear that there's that fear of reprisal and bodily harm.
Yeah.
instead of being met from a place of respect of, oh, you're another human being. You're not someone to be you're not someone to take advantage of, or to harm, or to abuse, or to degrade, or to, pick your adjective. Snow the Witch. Hello.
Very, very good friends, and you'll probably meet her in person.
What a great profile picture.
Snow is gorgeous and looks like that in real life.
Yeah. I want to explore adding sensual dance to my practice. Any tips? Start dancing. Really?
Just dance.
Start dancing. Put on some music. Mm-hmm. Dance around. Find, if you want to do it sensually, okay. What makes you feel sexy? Is it a pair of heels? Is it a pair of Ugg boots? Is it a pair of panties? Is it an open, button-down shirt? Is there something?
Pasties.
Pasties. Find that thing or things, props, pieces of clothing, costume. Is it a scarf? Is it a necklace? Is it something? What makes you feel sexy? Put that on. Dance around in your kitchen with your girlfriends over some wine. Super fun.
Midnight margaritas.
Maybe on Zoom, because again, we're in the midst of a pandemic. But once we have reached a point where more and more people are vaccinated and we can potentially reach herd immunity, although there are still issues with that, but that's for the epidemiologist, not for the. They're pretty much the same person. That's for the epidemiologist, not for the performer. We will be able to congregate, and we will be able to have some semblance of what we knew as life before pandemic. There is no such thing as normal. We're not going back to normal. Normal is a cycle on a washing machine. We are going to actually have to move forward and do better.
I've learned that there is no normal. There's no such thing as normal.
That's a cycle on a washing machine. My dishwasher has a normal setting. My washing machine has a normal setting. That's it.
It doesn't come with people. It doesn't.
There is no normal. I didn't come with an instruction book. I don't have a normal either. But anyway, Snow, I would suggest finding music that makes you, that inspires you. If it's silly, what was that? Risky Business, dance around in your underwear with a pair of Ray-Bans. Okay, do it.
Yeah.
And see and find and explore. If you are interested in burlesque and you want to take classes, there are 1,000,001 out-of-work performers that are hawking their wares on the internets. They're offering classes, they're offering Zoom classes, or, they're offering coaching sessions, all kinds of things.
Yep.
There are so many performers that make their living from burlesque that can't do that right now.
Right.
So find somebody local, or find somebody in somewhere that you've always wanted to go and say, hey, if you're doing this, I'd love to learn some things from you.
Yeah, for sure. Here's another one for you, Draven Michael. What sparked the idea of I want to try this, and what has burlesque taught you about yourself?
It looked like fun. That's what sparked the idea. And a lot of the things that I do because it might be fun. I might hate it. I might love it. It might be fun. I moved from New Orleans to Texas to learn how to be a body piercer because it might be fun.
Yeah.
The doubt that I had on the way, moving all of my stuff to an entirely new city, was, what if I hate it?
Yeah.
Okay, what if I hate it?
Yeah.
I don't have to do it forever.
Right.
But it might be fun. And it turns out I really did enjoy it. And I still retain those skills. In fact, I had a friend of mine ask me a while back to do a piercing for him. And I was rusty with that septum piercing. But you know what? I did a beautiful piercing and he loves it. And I'm grateful.
Good.
And what has burlesque taught me about myself? That's a really good question. It has taught me how to think in a different way. It has taught me how to take my independent nature and to put it on stage, to own being a woman who is a sexual being, and that being a sexual being is 100% okay. It has also taught me to try to overcome the self-doubt, because there's a lot of it.
Wow. I would have never thought that you struggled with any of that, because I've always seen you as such a confident person. And you wear that, I'm going to say, shield pretty damn well. You do.
Some days it's a mask.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you wear the mask of okay,
yeah,
you get a chance for the monster to really make itself known.
Yeah.
And, you know, this pandemic has taught me that a lot, where I've been okay, but I haven't been okay.
Yeah.
Burlesque has done that a lot for me as well. I think burlesque is hard because it is an individual pursuit, but you're an individual inside of what's supposed to be a community. But it's not a community, it's an industry. And performers and artists, in my opinion, are out for themselves to make money, to make their art, but to also make money.
Yeah.
So the people that you share the stage with may not necessarily be your friends. They are your coworkers. They can be your friends, and there's always that potential for them to be your friends. But it's not an industry, in my experience, that is easy. And women are oftentimes not easy on themselves or each other. There are plenty of men who do burlesque as well, which is fan-fucking-tastic. Oftentimes they're called boylesque. No, I think it should just be called burlesque. It's fine. It's the same thing. Don't care. Male, female, somewhere in between. Pick your poison. It's burlesque.
Yeah. How many times have you seen the movie?
It's a guilty pleasure of mine.
I know, mine too. Every time it comes up on my something or whatever, I'm like, let's watch it. And I love Christina Aguilera anyhow. So
it is a horrible, horrible movie when it comes to the industry and the art of burlesque. It is the costumes are fantastic.
Yeah, and I love Stanley Tucci, and I love it.
I'm a Christina Aguilera fan like nobody's business.
I love Cher. I love it all.
Who's the blonde, sparkly, blue-eyed actor who plays the guy that Christina Aguilera ends up getting? Oh,
that's Kristen Bell. That's Kristen Bell, believe it or not.
The actor, the guy, the really pretty one, looks even better with the guy liner.
he was actually in Twilight. Oh my God, I can't remember. He was the bad guy in Twilight. He was a bad vampire in Twilight 1 that was trying to kill Bella. I can't remember what his actual actor name is, but he is delicious to look at.
Thank you, Google. It's Cam Gigandet. And I mean, at one point in that film, he is standing behind the bar in just a vest and guy liner. And I mean, it's not even guy liner, it's just eyeliner. So pretty much anyone who's going to be watching this, eyeliner is gender neutral. Please wear it because it looks good.
It does. I put it on my pirate every time he goes out. When he gets all piratey, and I'm just like, you need a little smoky, you need a little something, or whatever. You need a little something. Kay says, blessings, Miss Monarch.
Thank you so much.
Okay, here's one from Little Cosmic Crow.
Oh, I'm gonna put my glasses on so I can actually read this. Some good ways to speak our boundaries when a situation arises, especially when people don't respect one's personal space. It's hard not to be upset with myself at times when I don't speak up. Again, I think it's a practice. I think it is an attention to doing it, a way of expressing yourself. I've always been opinionated. I will give you my opinion whether you want it or not.
No, I can't imagine.
Whether you ask for it or not.
So shy. I'm being facetious.
And you know, I recognize that everybody has different personality traits. You may find a situation like what we were talking about at this particular show where you want to say something and you may not feel comfortable doing that. And assessing your comfort level is your comfort and your safety level, I think, is first and foremost. And if you are in a place within yourself when you are comfortable and you feel safe, then the words that you use will convey that, and the boundary that you are able to establish should also be able to convey that. Knowing that we are individuals, but we are independent yet interdependent. Yeah. You know, in a public situation that might work, where you have a bouncer at the club that can assist you if things go awry, or if you're. It's a little trickier, I think, with work situations, especially with superiors, sometimes even coworkers. But those resources for us to be able to speak our truth and lay those boundaries in specific situations are already built in HR, although sometimes they're ineffective as well.
I agree.
Bouncers at clubs, mental health professionals. They're going to probably get a whole lot more done than someone who is in the law enforcement world. I would use law enforcement as a place of last resort because there are so many better and more capable resources. In a personal situation, you know, somebody's standing too close to you at the grocery store in, you know, COVID land, you know, in this pandemic world that we live in. Speak up.
Speak up.
Would you please, you know, but do it with empathy and compassion, and do it with a recognition that they are a person.
Yeah, and being assertive doesn't mean that you're being a bad person. You can be assertive, you know, with your boundaries and hold that space for yourself. I'm going to speak from experience. You know, I started off being a cocktail waitress and being grabbed pretty much damn constantly because I was accessible and these guys were turned on. by watching what's happening on stage. I made the choice. It's the typical, well, they're making more money and these women are protected, by space. And I might as well get up there, and I've got a friend and we're going to do stuff to each other on stage and make, $1,500, $2,000 a night. And that was back in the 90s, and it was really good.
Apparently it's still really good. Yeah, and to be perfectly honest, I love strippers. There's not a damn thing wrong with working in a club.
Yeah, I would rather see female strippers. I mean, and this might be, I enjoy the female body in a dance more so than the men, because they're kind of sweaty. It's kind of gross. Like, they're pretty slimy, but, I'll watch anything. But, for me, I was that gal that didn't have a whole lot of self-confidence. I am a survivor of sexual assault and molestation, and I've, was always that pleaser, and they will get mad at me if I just sort of go along with it, and I would turn to charming them first. I would charm them. I would turn on my charm, because especially with a lot of these type of personalities, if you charm them and you're nice to them, they generally will kind of back off in a way. And then you get those that just don't. And I just went along with it because for me, it was better, because I was, hit, when it didn't go their way. And so there's a spot in my brain that I just switched off and said that it was okay. But as I got older, I realized that me not setting those boundaries is giving them permission to keep doing it. And I just couldn't handle it anymore. And when I became a mom, I was just like, oh no, you all say, did you not like that? Did you not like that? Do you not? Then you need to tell them. And otherwise it's going to keep on happening. Well, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to start anything. I'm like, but you want to go ahead and have this continue happening, and it hurts you and it affects you. You're able to deal with that pain yourself, and you don't want it. Why? Why you need to speak up. For me, I feel like silence is permission, and I've lived that, and I can't do it anymore. I just can't do it anymore.
The other thing to remember is that there are more common experiences that we have than experiences that divide us. And to recognize the commonality in experience, much like what you're talking about, abuse, for example. I'm not even going to get into systemic racism, because that's especially in healthcare and pandemic care. But that is, that exists. And the more and more that we can break down the systemic inequities and inequalities and rebuild a society's system, specifically in the United States, because that's where I live and that's my experience, the more that we will be able to grow. And that growth, that breaking down and that rebuilding comes from the ground up. It comes from mutual aid, community mutual aid, recognizing that, hey, my neighbor may need oranges or doesn't have enough money to feed themselves. Let me help them with that. Let me see what I can do to have difficult conversations about people who are gay, people who are transgender, people who are, people of color, and people who have had experiences that are different from your own. I am a middle-aged white woman, so I recognize my privilege. And
oh my God, are we middle-aged already? Did that just happen?
It didn't just happen. It's been sneaking up for a while.
Oh my God.
When you're closer to 50 than you are to 40, it's been sneaking up for a while. Yes.
46, almost 47.
Yeah, I'm a middle-aged white woman, and I try not to throw my privilege around to take advantage. I try more to throw my privilege around to work with a community and an environment to make it better for all of us. And I'm going to answer Snow's question, which is, who's your favorite burlesque dancer or sensual icon? There are so many, and all for different reasons.
Mm.
I will forever and always be grateful to my friend Joe Boobs Weldon, who wrote the book on burlesque, literally. It's called the Burlesque Handbook. It was published years and years ago. Joe is a fantastic performer and wonderful human being. She also recently, I guess in the last 2 years, wrote a book on the history of leopard print, which is super exciting. Oh yeah. Joe's a wonderful person. I will start with her. I will also
the history of leopard print.
Yeah,
like all about it.
I don't own this book yet, but I'm dying to get it.
Okay.
Another fantastic performer, and I'm going with modern folks, and these are people that I actually know, or some of them that I actually know. I would also say Pearl Noir. Pearl Noir was here in New Orleans for a very, very long time, and she's in New York now and advocates for performers of color and highlights performers of color. She's an amazing performer and an absolutely sensual woman who you just can't really take your eyes off of.
Mm-hmm.
From wow. I feel like I'm being put on the spot. I kind of am. I would also say Princess Farhana, another really awesome lady, total punk rock badass, burlesque performer, and belly dancer.
Oh boy.
Yes. And wow. She was controversial because she was a belly dancer first, and she was taken and taught belly dance in Egypt, and then started that transition and that inclusion of belly dance into burlesque. And for so long, they were trying to be separate. Belly dancers and Oriental dancers in the United States tried to keep those separate. Belly dancers are not strippers. Well, guess what? They're not, but they are, but they're not, but they are, but they're not, but they are. When you think about it from a circus sideshow perspective, you get the hoochie coochie girls are right next to the hoochie coochie girls were both burlesque and belly dance.
Yeah.
And they made just as much money either way. There are plenty of different traditions that you can discuss, and I don't know all of the ins and outs and the particulars because I haven't done the research. I know small bits and pieces of that information.
I am not okay, I like to perform and I like to act, I like to sing, I like to do those things. I have no problem with this, obviously. I like to dance when no one's looking, and I think that I have PTSD from my previous stripping. So dancing publicly for me is difficult unless I'm just joking around and being like, that's not a big deal. But it terrifies me to, Tessa wants me so bad to join this, witches dance shimmy mob troupe. And it's there's a part of me that would really, really enjoy it, but my body is not what it used to be. And I have confidence issues with that. And I think that all of us go through that, men, women, whatever. We all have body issues, but I am not the size 6 or size 5, the very unhealthy size 5 and 6 that I was when I was stripping, so I feel like I can't do it. So I do things in my home, and I just got 2. That being said, it's something that I'm working on, and hopefully that maybe I will feel confident enough to join said troupe. I want to get there. Right now, I think I'm just going to be a support member. Whatever they need, I'll just, that radio, they need help with that speaker. I'll drag that thing around. However, I got 2 CDs on Bollywood dance, which I really enjoy. I love the culture. I love the whole thing. And I are the two, my question, if I ever get to it, is, are the two sort of connected? Because there's a lot of like there was a pop of the hip and a thing and a ding and the da with the hands and the stuff, and I'm like, do you feel that belly dance and Bollywood is connected in some way?
There's nothing new under the sun. And
I'm glad you said that. Thank you for saying that. Thank you very much.
There's literally nothing new under the sun. Okay, maybe this COVID-19, because it is technically a novel virus, but it's a novel virus for humans and not necessarily. Anyway, that's beside the point. Novel virus for humans. Of course, they're connected. The human body only moves in certain ways, and the tradition of Bollywood and the tradition of Indian dance is going to be very similar to the tradition of Middle Eastern dance. And that all comes from years and years of people dancing. And that's just the way the music makes you feel and the way the music makes you go. We've talked a lot about me in burlesque. So I'm going to talk about belly dance for a minute.
Okay.
Because your friend keeps saying, join this shimmy mob, join this shimmy mob. Do it. And I tell you why. And listen to me, Raven, and I tell you this 100%. I have studied belly dance for now 22 years. I'm not necessarily the best at it. It makes me ultimately happy. But more than the dancing, there's something about dancing, belly dancing, oriental dancing with a group of women. My first belly dance teacher and I are still friends. Mm-hmm. People that I've known belly dancing when I was belly dancing in Texas, we are still friends. My dear friend Virginia opened her house to us when we were in exile at Katrina time, because she had it available and we had this connection through dance. The folks that I dance with now, and I phase in and out. I'm not in dance class every week. I'm not in dance class even every month. I will go through phases where I don't even show up to the studio for months or even sometimes years at a time. But the fact of the matter is that when I come back, I am greeted with open arms for just being myself.
Okay.
I am accepted and loved and honored just for who I am. I'm not required to change my shape, my thought process, my anything by these incredibly accepting women. And I have found that the dance groups, the folks that I belly dance with, because it is a communal type dance, have that, and we share that. And I'm grateful.
Okay. I heard you. Heard you.
So wear a muumuu and a sparkly thing on your head and dance and shimmy. It doesn't matter if you're in a bra and a skirt, or if you just want to wear a dress and tie a scarf around your head, scarf around your waist. It's still beautiful, and it's still joyful, and it's still fun.
Okay.
And connections that you will get and enjoy from that are probably some of the strongest connections that you'll make.
Okay, heard ya.
There's nothing like dancing with a group of folks, women or other folks, when you can do it on a regular basis and have that. there's a shared energy and there's a beautiful magic that comes.
Okay. Okay. Well, I see it. I see it in all of my friends that are belly dancers or dancers in general. I mean, a very, very good friend from high school lives in Seattle and has put on a couple of interpretive dance shows, and she's also a witchy poo, and also has said that she's coming in on this channel. And she has been. I've seen some of her little clips of her things, but she just all of my dancer friends, they just sort of exude this beauty. They do. It's really beautiful to see. It's beautiful to watch your performance. It was amazing. You did the mama performance is what I got to see, and it was just high
That's
energy. It was beautiful. I mean,
that's my signature.
you dressed up and your costume and everything was just it was just gorgeous. It was just really, really beautiful. Really beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful thing to behold. Okay.
Also, why do you think that many pagan rituals begin with dance?
With dance and music and yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a connection. It's definitely
it's the shared magic and energy.
yeah. Okay, we are closing in on an hour and a half, so I kept you longer than I said I was going to do, which I knew was going to happen because you've got lots of good info. But is there any closing statements you want to use this platform to kind of introduce what you're doing, different projects to look out for? You're sending me links that I'm going to add to the description box once this thing uploads. Anything you're working on or any information you want to share right now to the people?
There's really nothing I'm working on. I would share some amazing pieces of both work and creativity. There are websites that I was able to be a part of developing for Crescent Care that was based on the research that we did. One of them is called tshare.cc. And that is I think so. Wait, let me just make sure. Yep, there it is. tshare, CHER.cc. And this is, it's Trey Share, Take Charge, and it is a transgender women's guide to transgender women's sexual health and well-being. Oh no, there we go. Another one that we have worked on is let me see if that was, I don't know if that is. We have that one. Nope, that's not published yet. We have another one called Take Charge of Your Sexual Health, which concentrates on giving information to individuals about the 9 main STIs that people that people often do contract. It's kind of weird to transition back and forth between belly dance and burlesque and public health, but I use my platform. I use my voice for all platforms, and as I move forward in my art, I will be incorporating more public health, as weird as that sounds, into my art and bringing awareness to people. Specifically on HIV care, on reducing the transmission of HIV, to resources for HIV for anybody who needs it. Also with STIs as well. As a witch, there are so many things that I could say, but that's just literally a part of who I am every day. My life is my ritual. My meditation is moving and dancing. I'm comfortable in the kitchen, and that's where most of my magic happens. I live in a city that is imbued with magic, and I see it every day, and I forget about it every day as well.
It's true.
Mental health is health, and to be able to normalize that and to find the struggles that we all have and to talk about it openly and freely. It's important, and it's a struggle that I'm still going through and will for a while. While there may be a calm and cool and confident exterior, there is still that frantic inside. Think about a swan on the water. They look beautiful and graceful, and they're lovely. I mean, they're mean as hell, but they're beautiful and graceful and lovely. Underneath, they're paddling. They're paddling to stay afloat.
Yeah.
And that happens. That happens to all of us. And this last pandemic year has, I think, taught all of us lessons that we never thought we wanted, that we needed to learn, or that we just didn't look at. And this was the time for us to examine. And
for the universe forced shadow work on all of us. So those people that have just like, oh, I'll get to it when I get to it. Yeah, the universe had a different
so much. And we're all moving at our own pace.
Mm-hmm. We are.
And I would say to everybody who watches, reach out to those you love. Let them know they're important.
Yep.
Every day.
Every day.
In some way, shape, or form. Because connection, real, true connection with people. Mm-hmm. That's what it's about.
That's why we're here. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Agreed. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, friend. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure catching up with you. And
I can't believe we've been chatting for, you and I we started long before we went live. So we've been chatting for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I could probably keep this up for another couple of hours, although I do have a class to teach at 4.
No, you probably need to do that. But thank you for coming on. And I will put on the end screens, in-screen links or whatever, that one performance of Mama, and you will send me those links. I'll put those in the description box as that uploads. That's probably because this live is so long, usually takes a few hours for me to make those changes once it does upload, because they got to check for things at whether or not it's made for kids. No, it's not made for kids. I'm not a kid channel. But let me just update you in the fact that my next chat, I had a cancellation, and so Miss Alvine Green from Australia is going to be on my channel at 6 p.m. on Thursday, and then after that is Sunday the 14th with Snow the Witch, and she is in the chat and has her own fancy channel as well, and does gorgeous editing and beautiful things. Her aesthetic is always gorgeous. She's a beautiful person, so it just shines from within. So that's what's happening on Truth Talk. And then I'm taking a 2-week break because this has been a lot. It's been a lot of Truth Talk. And we are starting to book for April and now May. And even somebody has booked for June. So apparently this series is important to y'all. I'm just going to keep holding the space for the people that want it. So if you have any people that want to do a little truth chat with me, then have them private message me or email me at ravenflowerwest@gmail.com, and I will try to get them on screen. With that, we will love and leave you, and we thank you very much. If you enjoyed this and my other videos, which I'm about to do an magical herb education on the poppy right after this, then please give a like and a subscribe, and it helps my algorithms, and so that people can see stuff. So that's the thing. I'm doing this for my health. I'm doing this for my health. With that, many blessings, everybody. Miss M, you stay right there, and we are out. Thank you, guys, and have a wonderful day.